This week we are entering road course season live from Circuit of the Americas. Welcome to Austin, Texas. The home of Circuit of the Americas. Folks, we also have a one-off race for the magician himself. Ray Green is making a one-off event here tonight. I'm here this afternoon. He is racing here in COTA, and we know for a fact that Nick Green will drive the 51 in a one-off race as well. One race this year. But Ray Green, the magician, is racing today. Let's see where your favorite drivers are starting. It's an all-chef front row. It's Kellen Sheff on the pole. Then last year's winner here, Quentin Sheff. Then we get to Michaela Winstead, Lena Gillett, Grady Broughton. Then we get to Jordan Lomax racing full-time in the 27. Then Kwame Reeder. Then we get to Ray Green. Then Bailey Winstead. Then it's Riley Poindexter, Austin Horner, Maya Dimmick. Then Bryce Pax, Grant Irwin. Then we get to Luke Clark, who is making his return full-time in the 41. Then we get to Braden Mills, Luke Dockery, the 38 of Eli Jackson. Then Nolan Bernango, last year's champion. Then we get to Jonathan Stevenson, rounding out the top 20. Rounding out the rest of the field, it's Skylar Naney, Abshar Khan, Kinsey Arnett, David Loudon, Boston Matthews. Then we get to the 70. The 70, Garrett Irwin. Then Jordan Spencer. Last week's winner, Aaliyah Dean, Cole Flick, Matthew Campton, and Lily Horner. We are about to go green flag racing, 30 laps, Circuit of the Americas. Dry now, and just like last year, it's supposed to rain, but it won't rain until the end. We are green here from Circuit of the Americas. Green flag racing from COTA. Here comes Winstead down to the inside. She still has third. Look at Raider there. Ray Green around the top. Side by side for the lead. The Chefs dominated this race last year. Quentin Sheff, back where he finished last season here, is up front. Looks like we had a spin on the first lap. It was the 9. She is way back. Campton already up to 27th. A lot of damage for a few of these drivers as well. As we see, the leader is Quentin Sheff. The leader is Quentin Sheff. Quick in practice and qualifying. Here in the 66. Quentin Sheff was fastest in practice. That was Quentin Sheff. Kellen Sheff took the pole. Kellen Sheff was also second quickest in practice. Michaela Winstead, however, had maybe one of the best cars in practice as well. She sits in third. Here comes the 14. He led the last lap here last year. He's going to lead the first lap this year. Quentin Sheff leads lap 1 here in Circuit of the Americas. Remember, he is last year's winner here. Here comes the 14 to the inside. Side by side for the lead. Kellen Sheff wants the lead. Sheff now goes to the inside. Through the S's. Quentin versus Kellen. Brothers battling. And Kellen Sheff retakes the lead. 2 cars on pit road, the 4 and the 60. Up to 26 is Matthew Campton. Don't be shocked if the 32 makes it up front late in the going in this race. As you see Kellen Sheff leading here from COTA. Kellen Sheff has been such a good road course racer in his career. Quentin Sheff got 2 back-to-back wins last year, this race last year, and Daytona as well. Quentin Sheff goes to the inside. He is wanting the lead back. That's to turn 20. He is there, right on the rear end of his brother. But it's Kellen Sheff who will lead to lap number 3. The Sheffs have led the first 2 laps. And it looks like it might be a Sheff-dominating day. A Sheff-dominated day. Kellen Sheff was about to go back-to-back last year at Texas and here, but his strategy did not play out well. Stayed out long, did not work out well for the 14. And now through the new part that was added last year, back to the back straightaway. Lap 3 is on the board. It's Kellen and Quentin Sheff 1 and 2. I think Campton is still running back in 26th. Yeah, he is. Campton in 26th. 14 seconds back for the lead. But Kellen Sheff, once again, it's like what we said, he is a great road course racer. And may I remind you, it is supposed to rain later in the race. I mean, when it starts raining, it's going to be really light rain, so I don't know if the track will be lost. But once it starts to pick up, that's when everything could be chaotic. It's not going to rain for the whole entire race. But we expect to see overcast clouds here as well. As we see the 14 leading to lap number 4. Here comes a 66 to the inside. Quentin Sheff is there, and we are side by side once again. Here comes Quentin Sheff down to the inside. He's going to have the advantage through the S's. Quentin Sheff is back up front in COTA. Quentin Sheff, such a good road course racer. And here's something crazy too. He has a visor cam here today. Yeah, that's right. Quentin Sheff has a visor cam, not Matthew Campton. But Matthew Campton, on the other hand, does have the bumper cam. Let's ride along with the 32. This is a bumper cam riding along with Matthew Campton in the 32. Remember, he is an F1 champion, so don't be alarmed if he's running in the back right now, or if he finishes in the back today, because there's still a ton of races. He got 7th last week in a chaotic Texas race. Remember, only 13 cars finished last week, and Campton was one of them. That was and Campton was one of them that finished. The fastest car on the racetrack is that number 4, Kinsey Arnett. As she is trying to close back in on the lead pack. Look at the 24, Michaela Winstead. It was an up and down season last season as we have a battle for the lead. Hang on a second. The 14 is there. He looks strong. But yeah, whenever Michaela Winstead was racing last season, she was always running up front and in the back. An up and down season, never got a win. And then she is full time this season in the 24. And last week she got a top 10. And this week she is fast. She could potentially pick up her first career win. That could be something. Can we see Michaela Winstead get a win in her first start at Circuit of the Americas? That's a good question. Lap 5 of 30 is on the board, and it is starting to get overcast now. We will see pit stops. We will see multiple pit stops today, as the 66 continues to lead out of the final corner. Sold out crowd here in COTA. Chef. We have 25 laps to go here from Circuit of the Americas. Kellen Chef goes low. Great run by Kellen. Kellen now trying to get a good run, entering the S's. He does. Great run to the inside. It's side by side for the lead again. Quinn Chef, though, hanging tough. Still side by side for the lead. The 14 gets hit, goes wide, and the 66 is going to keep the lead. Nice run by the 66 here on lap number 6. Let's ride along with Quentin Chef. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He has a visor cam. Here comes the 66. Now through the stadium section of this racetrack. And we're coming to turn 19 and 20. Here comes Chef. Through turn 19, coming to turn number 20. You are seeing how difficult it is to drive at this racetrack. Quentin Chef, this track isn't too difficult for him. The winner of this race last year, back up front right now. And if you think back to last year, Kellen Chef was up front most of the day last year as well. So it looks like that the leaders have the same cars that they brought last year now to this race today. The 66 and the 14 really quick, as it's all Quentin Chef on lap 7. To race here, you have to be one of the best road course racers to win. And a lot of fans and of course a lot of fans did have Quentin Chef in their fantasy lineups. And I know that they also had Kellen Chef as well. As before the race, our pre-race people picked Quentin Chef. I mean, 2 people picked Quentin Chef, and the rest picked Kellen. And I know that all the fans were saying Matthew Campton was going to be the one to watch. Right now, Campton's car looks really slow, but when everybody makes a pit stop, it will be interesting to see what pit strategy he has. Here comes the 14. In second, Kellen Chef trying to close back in. The 46 now getting antsy as he wants to get around that 24. Here comes the 14, trying to get a good run. More grip is coming to the racetrack, and that should allow some drivers to get more good runs. It will be interesting to see how the 24 will do now with the sun behind the clouds. The temperature is dropping. The track temperature at the start of this race was in the 100s, and now it's 97 degrees track temp. So the track temp is falling quick here. And it's only 81 degrees out. It's not that bad. And it actually feels like 80. So, yeah, it's not bad out. Here comes the 60, here comes the 14. To the inside, he wants to lead through turn 19, coming to turn number 20. Quentin Chef continues to dominate here in COTA. When we hit lap 10, we will have our annual break, but the break shouldn't be too long. So yeah, here comes the 66 through turn 1. A lot of drivers did circle this track as one of the hardest tracks to race at. Here comes Kellen. Kellen Chef. Contact made with the leader. Here comes a 24. Michaela Winstead will take second away. Kellen Chef. Contact made with his brother. The 14 makes contact with his brother's quarter panel, and that will move Michaela Winstead up to second. Michaela Winstead is in prime position to potentially get a win here in COTA. That could be something if we see Michaela Winstead get to victory lane. We saw Bailey Winstead win her first career race in the 24 at the Brickyard. 24 back full time this season, and it is Michaela Winstead. Winstead is quick. And now here we go to turn number 20 on lap 9. Quentin Chef has led the most laps to this point. He's been out front for most of the day. Quentin Chef leads to lap number 10, and we will be back after the break. We will ride along with the 24. Have you ever thought of seeing a first-time winner? Well, I know I have, and I know that we will most likely see one here today in the rain. 11 laps to go, lap 20 is on the board, but guys, don't look now, it's a battle between the younger chef and the driver looking for her first career win, Michaela Winstead. Michaela Winstead, if she wins, she should be locked into the playoffs. And should not be sit back down. Lap 20 is on the board. There's a 55. Rotten there in third. Then we get to Landon Gilliott, Eli Jackson. Then we get to Quentin Sheff. Then Luke Clark. He's on the slick. He's on the slicks. He's still out there. Looks like that he has the same strategy as Kellen Sheff from last season. If Kellen Sheff stayed out on the track on the slick tires as well. And speaking of Kellen Sheff, he's leading, but not by much. The 24 is there right behind him. It's a good battle up front. There's a lap car. There is a lap car in between second and third, and that is the 11 of Luke Dockery. But Kellen Sheff through the final corner. 10 laps to go here from Circuit of the Americas. It should be raining for the rest of the race, for the last 10 laps. But right now, we see the 24 there in second. Michaela Winstead could win this race. Winstead in second, Sheff in the lead. 10 to go. Down the back straightaway for the final 10 times. Will we see Michaela Winstead have a chance to win? Will we see her take the lead away from Kellen? Raining in Austin, Texas. And it is also raining in Fort Worth right now. Near Dallas, that is where the Texas Motor Speedway is. But we aren't racing there right now. The 14 has the lead. Here from COTA. Through the stadium section once again. Winstead still there in second. Look at Dockery. He is close all the way back in on the leaders. He wants his lap back. Not a bad run for the F1 champion of Matthew Campton. He sits in 25th. And there's a big gaggle of cars right in front of him. A huge gaggle of cars indeed. Somebody is slowing this group down, and I know who the culprit is. It's this guy right here, Luke Clark. Is a culprit of this group, and the 51 Ray Green is up to 9th. Not bad from the Magician. Green up to 9th. It's still a 12-second advantage over third place Brady Broughton. So it's just gonna be a battle between Sheff and Winstead. Let's take a look at the top 10. It's Kellen Sheff, Michaela Winstead, Brady Broughton, Landon Gilliott, Eli Jackson, Quentin Sheff, Boston Matthews, Jordan Lomax, Ray Green, and Abshar Khan. Bailey Winstead is in 12th. The 41 still has yet to pit. He's still on the track with those slick tires. as he's going to have to get on the brakes really quick to the 51, making a pass underneath the 41. The 4 is as well. He is slow through these corners. 3 wide through the first corner. Campton is 3 wide behind them. Matthew Campton just took it 3 wide on a whole bunch of cars, and he's up to the 23rd. What a run by the F1 champion, and now here comes a 1. Horner moving forward. That 1 is quick because of the 41 holding this group up. This is a very interesting group back here, as we have side by side for the lead. Don't know how long that's going to last, but yeah, the 24 was there side by side for the lead. Might be a car behind now, and the leaders are closing in on that lap traffic as well. The leaders have pretty much caught that lap traffic. And it's all because of the 41. Now here comes a 3. We're on the outside of the 41 here. Is the 41 finally going to pit this time? I don't know, but all I know is that he has made sure that this group is slow. Look at that side-by-side battle there. It's going to go 3 wide. The 41 is not pitting at all. Campton goes underneath him. And the leaders are pretty much catching that group, or already did pass them. I think the leaders have already passed them, but let's see though. No, the leaders have not passed them yet. We have a battle for the lead. Here comes Michaela Winstead. She will take the lead away on lap 24. Michaela Winstead to the lead at Circuit of the Americas. COTA is amazing. Is the 41 going to pit on lap 24? That's the question. Now come to lap 25. The gap has closed back in. About Campton behind the leaders as well. He's a lap down. But right now it is Winstead who leads. Actually, yeah, the 41 is way behind the leaders. But the 24 has 6 laps until the checkered flag. I did not think that lap traffic would come into play, and then I saw how slow the 41 was. And now here we go, back up front. Let's watch the 14. Great run by Chef. Kellen Chef goes to the inside. It's side by side for the lead, but is the 24 going to hang on? Great run by Chef. He's on the outside, and he will clear for the lead. Kellen Chef is back up front. We will be back after the break. to the final corner. 5 laps to go from Circuit of the Americas. Campton behind the leader. 3 cars behind the leader. And here we go. It's a 41 finally on pit road. While we are seeing... There's a car out of the race. A car has DNF'd at Circuit of the Americas. That's rare. The 41 is still out there, and looks like that he is going to run out of gas. Oh my gosh, that 41. He's not pitting. He's going to... Oh my gosh. This is about to be crazy. Bailey Winstead passes the 41. So does the 33. And the 41 is out of gas. I have never seen this happen at Circuit of the Americas before. 5 laps to go up the hill. He is slow. He might stall it. He is starting to stall. That 41 is out. There he goes. He's out of gas. He is sputtering, and he is still in front of everybody. And he is slowing everyone way down. Luke Clark again runs out of fuel. For the first time, we will see 2 cars out of the race, DNFing out of the race on a road course at Circuit of the Americas. That is really rare. He pretty soon, yep, there he goes. He pulls off the track, and there he goes. Out of the race is Kellen Sheff. I mean Luke Clark, but Kellen Sheff has 4 more laps until we see who is going to win. Kellen Sheff, Michaela Winstead. 1 and 2. We know that the battle is not going to be with the 55. That 55 will not be... is 3 seconds back, but right now is not in the mix to be in position to win here. Through the stadium section, coming to 3 laps to go. Michaela Winstead has a chance to pull an upset. But it's been a dominating day for the Chefs. Kellen Sheff, his tragedy last year was horrific. Led the most laps last year, indeed. And his brother ended up winning. He finished in last. A year more. He is 3 laps away from winning, maybe at Circuit of the Americas, but he still has to deal with that 24. And how about that 55 in the mix as well? He goes low, and he is into the mix now. The lap cars let the 55 go. And the one thing that the 14 needs to be worried about is that 24 speed. Here comes Winstead. Still there, side by side for the lead. She wants the lead. And it's going to remain side by side. Winstead round the top to the lead with 3 to go. Look at Broughton. He's there to 3rd. And he's caught the leader. And he has caught the top 2. But Michaela Winstead has a chance to win. She just needs to hold off the 14 and the 55 for 2 more laps. The Air Bubbles 24. Top 10 result last week. trying to join her sister as a winner in this league. Bailey Winstead comes to 2 laps to go here from COTA. The 14 is still there. Right behind her, here comes Chef. Chef and Broughton are about to be side by side to turn number 20. Is Broughton going to steal one from COTA? Out of turn 20, side by side for second. The 55 is there, and that's going to let the 24 get away. 2 laps of racing left from Circuit of the Americas. You can see how fast everybody is. The 14 is there. Look at the 55. Round the inside goes the 14. Now the 14 is there. He's going to gain speed. Trying to close back in on your leader. And here comes Chef. But I'll tell you what slowed him up. Racing side by side with Brady Broughton slowed him up right there. I think he's going to have one more chance at the win. Maybe one more chance for Kellen Chef to get to victory lane. Are we going to see a last lap pass? I know that this is a finish that the fans came and stayed for. Could we see a last lap pass in a very interesting Circuit of the Americas race? Out of that corner, coming to the normal stadium section here. The 24 has the big chance to win here in COTA. RMG Racing won last week. Thunder Motorsports now with the 24 and the 14 battling for the lead. It's side by side. Chef wants the lead. And it's still going to remain side by side. But Winstead is going to keep it white flag one more time around COTA. The 24 used the top line there. If the 14 gets the run, look at the 14 easily taking the lead away, but that 24 will still be there. I think she's going to have enough speed. Let's watch. Here she comes back once again. Here comes the 24. She might have one more chance. We know she has one more chance. But it's Kellen Chef who leads here in COTA. Even if she doesn't win, this would still be a great day for her career. Ray Green inside the top 10. Bailey Winstead in 12th. Bailey Winstead is hearing on her radio that her sister is battling for the win. Final chances. The 24 is there. The 24 has speed. Don't count her out just yet. One more try for Michaela Winstead. She is close. The gap has closed. Now it's like 0.3 of a second lead. But she gets slowed down there. She wasn't able to hold it. The last place finisher from last week, from last season, at this track. The Chefs know their way around this track. Kellen Chef will win at Circuit of the Americas. He will hold off Michaela Winstead and Grady Broughton for the win. Kellen Chef wins. What a race. Let's see. Okay, I am interested in seeing who finished in last. A top 10 finish for Quentin Chef and Ray Green. Lily Horner only ran 14 laps. Major problems for Lily Horner and Luke Clark. But most importantly, your winner, Kellen Chef. Thanks for watching, everyone.